Camilla is now the queen. Kind of.
But this has happened for generations.
Continue to inspire and lead our national conversations, helping to bring the marginal to the center ground.
Few expected King Charles's most consequential decision about Queen Camilla's future to spark nationwide debate overnight. Was he protecting the monarchy, honoring tradition, or quietly preparing for a new royal era? As speculation grows and opinions sharply divide, every new detail fuels fresh uncertainty about what comes next for the crown and Camilla. What does this final decision truly mean for the monarchy's future? So, do you think Charles made the right choice, or should Camilla's role have remained unchanged? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. A crown faces a defining choice. Few moments in modern royal history have generated as much quiet speculation as the growing discussion surrounding King Charles III and the future of Queen Camilla. While no dramatic announcement has confirmed a sweeping constitutional change, the king's recent approach to planning for the monarchy's future has prompted renewed debate across Britain. Royal observers, historians, and commentators have all begun asking the same question. Has Charles already made the decision that will define Camilla's place in history? The uncertainty itself has become one of the biggest royal stories, drawing attention far beyond palace walls. Charles has always understood that every monarch carries two responsibilities. One belongs to the present, while the other belongs to the future. Since ascending the throne, he has repeatedly spoken about preserving stability, modernizing certain aspects of royal life, and ensuring the institution remains prepared for generations to come. Those priorities have become even more closely examined as discussions about succession, continuity, and long-term planning continue to dominate public conversation. Every public appearance, every official engagement, and every carefully chosen statement is now viewed through that wider lens. At the center of this growing interest stands Queen Camilla. Her journey into public acceptance has been one of the most closely watched transformations in modern royal history. Years of criticism gradually gave way to wider recognition of her steady support for Charles and her commitment to charitable work. Even so, many questions surrounding her long-term constitutional position have never completely disappeared. Unlike a reigning monarch, the role of a queen consort exists alongside the king, making her future closely connected to his reign. That reality has encouraged endless discussion among royal experts. If Charles is quietly preparing the monarchy for the years ahead, where exactly does Camilla fit within those plans? Could he leave behind guidance designed to protect her future role? Or will centuries of royal tradition naturally shape what happens regardless of personal wishes? These questions have no simple answers, yet they continue to fuel headlines and public debate. Across newspapers, television discussions, and online platforms, opinions remain sharply divided. Some believe Charles will do everything possible to ensure Camilla continues to receive respect long after his reign. Others argue that constitutional tradition has always taken precedence over individual preference, leaving very little room for personal decisions once the crown passes to a new sovereign. Neither view has been confirmed, but both reveal how deeply invested people remain in the future direction of the monarchy. Behind every conversation lies a larger issue than one royal marriage. This debate reflects uncertainty about how the institution will evolve during one of the most significant periods of transition in recent decades. Whatever Charles ultimately intends, many believe his decisions today will influence not only Camilla's future, but also the public image of the monarchy itself. For now, the answers remain carefully guarded, leaving Britain watching closely as every new development adds another layer to an unfolding royal mystery. Royal traditions may hold the answer, yet another mystery remains. What hidden factors could shape Camilla's destiny when the crown enters a new era? Could unexpected decisions challenge everything people believe about her future? And will the next revelation expose a truth no one expects? Keep watching. Beyond the crown's hidden rules. As questions surrounding King Charles III's long-term plans continue to grow, attention naturally shifts toward a subject that often creates confusion, even among devoted royal followers. What actually happens to Queen Camilla when the reign of the current monarch eventually comes to an end? the answer is far more complex than many headlines suggest. While speculation has encouraged countless theories, the British monarchy operates under centuries of constitutional tradition that no single monarch can simply erase or rewrite through personal preference alone. One of the biggest misunderstandings begins with the title itself. Camilla is queen because she is the wife of the reigning king, making her queen consort rather than a queen regnant. Those two positions are entirely different. A queen regnant inherits the throne and rules in her own right, just as Queen Elizabeth II did. A queen consort, however, supports the sovereign, but does not possess the constitutional authority of the monarch. Her position exists alongside the king's reign, instead of continuing independently after it. That distinction carries enormous importance as discussions about the future become more serious. Although King Charles deeply values Camilla's support and has publicly recognized her role within the monarchy, his authority does not extend to rewriting the rules of succession or permanently defining her constitutional status after his reign ends. The crown follows established laws and traditions that have developed across generations, ensuring continuity regardless of personal relationships or family wishes. This reality has surprised many members of the public. Some assume Charles could simply guarantee Camilla the same influence indefinitely, or create an entirely new arrangement that preserves every aspect of her current position. Constitutional experts consistently point out that the monarchy functions through established legal principles rather than individual decisions. Personal affection may influence private planning, but it cannot replace constitutional practice when the crown passes to the next sovereign. That transition would naturally introduce a different royal structure under Prince William. As the new monarch, William would become the center of the institution, while Catherine would assume the role of queen consort. Camilla's public responsibilities, visibility, and constitutional position would inevitably change as the focus shifted toward the next generation. Such a transition would not necessarily represent rejection or punishment. Instead, it would reflect the normal operation of the monarchy as it has evolved through history. Even with those constitutional realities, uncertainty continues to fuel debate. Some believe Charles may have quietly expressed personal wishes about how Camilla should be treated after his reign, hoping to safeguard her dignity and acknowledge her years of service. Others argue those wishes, however sincere, would remain separate from constitutional authority and could never override established royal tradition. Neither interpretation has been confirmed, leaving room for continuing discussion rather than certainty. Ultimately, the growing debate reveals something much larger than the future of one individual. It highlights the delicate balance between personal loyalty and constitutional duty that has shaped the monarchy for centuries. As public curiosity intensifies, understanding those long-standing rules becomes essential, because the answers may determine not only Camilla's future, but also how King Charles's own legacy is remembered. As William's future throne draws closer, a quiet transformation begins within the monarchy. Could his vision redefine the royal balance? Will Catherine's rising influence change everything behind palace walls? And what unexpected shift awaits Camilla as a new era silently approaches from this royal transition? Let's find out. William approaches history's greatest responsibility. As conversations about King Charles III's long-term plans continue to intensify, another reality quietly moves closer with every passing day. Any discussion about Queen Camilla's future cannot be separated from the moment Prince William eventually becomes king. That transition is not built on personal preference or family disagreement. It is the natural continuation of Britain's constitutional system, where every new reign brings fresh responsibilities, different priorities, and an entirely new center of royal influence. Prince William has spent decades preparing for the role he was born to inherit. From childhood, his public life has been shaped by duty, tradition, and careful observation of those who came before him. Throughout King Charles's reign, William has increasingly taken on larger responsibilities, representing the monarchy both at home and abroad. His growing presence reflects careful preparation rather than sudden ambition, signaling that the institution is steadily preparing for its next chapter whenever that day eventually arrives. Alongside William stands Catherine, Princess of Wales, whose role has steadily expanded through years of public service. Widely respected for her calm approach and dedication to charitable work, Catherine is expected to become Queen Consort when William succeeds to the throne. That constitutional transition would naturally reshape the public focus of the royal family, placing William and Catherine at the center, while other senior members assume different positions within the institution. For Queen Camilla, this change would not necessarily represent loss or conflict. Instead, it would reflect the established rhythm of royal succession. Her role has always been connected to King Charles's reign, and once a new sovereign takes the throne, the structure surrounding the monarchy changes accordingly.
Of history which surrounds us and which reminds us, to which members of both houses,
Public engagements, ceremonial responsibilities, official residences, and household arrangements often evolve during every royal transition, not because of personal decisions, but because tradition requires continuity under each new monarch. Even so, this constitutional reality has encouraged widespread speculation. Some believe William could redefine the visibility of senior royals, choosing a more streamlined monarchy that concentrates public duties among fewer working members. Others argue that experience and continuity remain valuable assets, making it reasonable for Camilla to continue supporting selected charitable causes while stepping away from the central role she currently occupies. Neither possibility has been officially confirmed, leaving room for debate rather than certainty. Royal historians frequently note that every accession quietly reshapes influence inside the institution. Relationships remain important, but constitutional responsibility always comes first. As one reign ends and another begins, attention naturally shifts toward the new sovereign and the vision that person brings for the future of the crown. That process has unfolded repeatedly throughout British history, regardless of the personalities involved. For many observers, this is where King Charles's reported long-term planning takes on greater significance. His decisions today may not determine every detail of Camilla's future, yet they could influence how smoothly the monarchy moves into William's reign. The questions surrounding succession therefore extend beyond one family member, revealing a broader story about continuity, legacy, and the careful transfer of royal responsibility that has defined the crown for centuries, leaving the nation watching every step with growing anticipation. Behind the palace walls, a carefully calculated future may already be taking shape. Could Charles' quiet preparations reveal a shocking shift ahead? Is Camilla's role changing in ways few expected? And what hidden decision is waiting to emerge next before the world finally sees it? Stay with us. Quiet preparations shape royal legacy. Behind the formal ceremonies and carefully managed public appearances, another story has gradually taken shape, one that receives far less attention, but may prove far more important. As King Charles III continues leading the monarchy, increasing attention has turned toward the quiet preparations believed to be happening behind palace walls. Rather than dramatic announcements or sudden constitutional changes, many royal experts suggest the king's greatest focus has been ensuring stability, continuity, and a smooth transition for the institution he inherited. If that is true, then his most significant decisions may never be delivered from a palace balcony, but instead reflected in careful planning carried out over time. Long before becoming king, Charles spoke about creating a slimmer and more focused monarchy. He repeatedly emphasized the importance of adapting the institution to changing public expectations while preserving its historic foundations. Since ascending the throne, observers have noticed that this broader vision has remained consistent. Public duties have increasingly centered on a smaller group of senior working royals, reinforcing the idea that the future of the monarchy depends on clarity, efficiency, and public confidence rather than size alone. Within that wider strategy, Queen Camilla occupies an important but carefully defined position. Throughout Charles's reign, she has continued supporting literacy, domestic violence awareness, osteoporosis research, and several other charitable causes. Her work has generally reflected continuity instead of controversy, allowing her public role to develop steadily after years of intense scrutiny. Many commentators believe Charles has wanted that charitable legacy to remain one of her lasting contributions, regardless of how the monarchy evolves in future years. Beyond public engagements, experienced royal observers often point to the practical responsibilities that every reigning monarch must consider. Matters involving official households, estates connected to the crown, long-term staffing, and the orderly transfer of responsibilities require detailed planning well before any transition takes place. Although much of that work remains private, it forms an essential part of maintaining constitutional stability. Such preparations are routine rather than extraordinary, yet they often shape history more profoundly than highly publicized events. This has encouraged fresh interpretation of Charles's reported long-term thinking. Some believe he has quietly considered how Camilla can continue receiving respect while recognizing that future constitutional realities will naturally change her public position. Others argue his primary concern has always been protecting the institution itself, even if that means allowing tradition to determine outcomes beyond his personal preferences. Neither perspective has been officially confirmed, leaving room for thoughtful discussion instead of definite conclusions. Whatever private conversations may have taken place, one consistent theme appears throughout Charles's public life. He has repeatedly presented the monarchy as an institution that must endure beyond any individual reign. That philosophy suggests planning for tomorrow is every bit as important as governing today. The growing attention surrounding his reported final decisions may therefore reveal something deeper than questions about one royal future. It may reflect a king determined to leave behind a stronger, steadier monarchy, even if many of the preparations remain unseen until history eventually reveals their full significance. Charles's choices reveal a deeper battle between duty and emotion. Did his greatest sacrifice reshape the monarchy forever? Could one final decision change how history remembers him? And what unexpected truth is about to emerge from this royal turning point? Stay glued. Duty always came before personal feelings. As the conversation surrounding King Charles III's reported long-term decisions continues to unfold, one question rises above every other. What principle has guided him through the defining moments of his reign? For many royal historians, the answer has remained remarkably consistent. Throughout decades of public life, Charles has repeatedly demonstrated that, regardless of personal relationships or private emotions, the monarchy itself must come first. That belief has shaped not only his actions as king, but also the difficult choices that continue to fuel public debate about Queen Camilla's future. This approach did not emerge overnight. Charles spent more than 70 years preparing to become sovereign, watching Queen Elizabeth II dedicate her life to duty above personal preference. Her reign established an enduring example of constitutional leadership, where individual wishes were often set aside in favor of protecting public confidence in the crown. Those lessons left a lasting impression, influencing how Charles views his own responsibilities during a period of significant change for the royal family. Since becoming king, Charles has frequently emphasized service rather than status. His speeches have consistently highlighted continuity, responsibility, and the importance of preserving an institution that extends far beyond one generation. Those themes have become even more meaningful as discussions about succession, public trust, and the monarchy's future have intensified. Every decision now carries greater significance because it affects not only the present, but also the stability of future reigns. That wider responsibility naturally creates difficult personal challenges. Queen Camilla has stood beside Charles through many important moments, supporting his public duties and building her own record of charitable work. Their marriage represents a deeply personal part of his life. Yet constitutional leadership demands that personal loyalty and institutional responsibility remain separate whenever necessary. Balancing those two realities is rarely simple, especially when public expectations continue evolving alongside royal tradition. This tension has encouraged different interpretations of Charles's reported planning. Some observers believe he is determined to ensure Camilla receives lasting respect while carefully protecting the constitutional framework that defines the monarchy. Others suggest his foremost concern has always been preserving public confidence, even if doing so requires accepting limits on what personal wishes can achieve. Neither interpretation has been officially confirmed, but both reflect the difficult balance every constitutional monarch must maintain. History offers many reminders that popularity can change quickly, while legacy is judged across generations. Charles appears well aware that today's headlines eventually give way to tomorrow's historical assessments. Decisions that seem controversial in the moment may later be viewed as necessary acts of stewardship if they strengthen the institution over time. For that reason, many experts argue his attention remains fixed on the monarchy's long-term stability rather than immediate public approval. As these questions continue attracting widespread attention, one reality becomes increasingly clear. The discussion is no longer centered solely on Charles or Camilla as individuals. Instead, it reflects the enduring challenge faced by every sovereign who must reconcile personal happiness with constitutional duty. Whether history ultimately praises or questions the king's choices, his legacy will likely be measured by one enduring standard: whether he safeguarded the crown for those destined to inherit it next. Camilla's journey may be entering a chapter no one can predict. Will she quietly redefine her place in history, or will hidden tensions reshape her royal connections? Could her next move reveal a legacy far different from expectations? What truth awaits beyond the headlines? Camilla faces tomorrow's uncertain place. As attention increasingly turns toward the future of the British monarchy, another question quietly continues to grow. What kind of life awaits Queen Camilla when King Charles III's reign eventually comes to an end? While no official roadmap has been released, royal precedent offers important clues. Rather than dramatic endings or sudden disappearances from public life, history suggests that such transitions are usually defined by gradual change, carefully managed responsibilities, and an evolving place within the royal family. Even so, Camilla's unique journey ensures that her future will remain the subject of close public interest. Throughout Charles's reign, Camilla has steadily built a public identity centered on charitable work rather than constitutional authority. Her support for literacy programs, domestic violence awareness, osteoporosis research, and other charitable causes has become a consistent part of her royal role. Those long-standing commitments could continue in some form, even if her official position changes with the arrival of a new monarch. Many former senior royals have remained active in carefully selected causes after stepping back from central duties, allowing experience to remain valuable without occupying the spotlight. At the same time, her public profile would almost certainly become more limited. As Prince William assumes the throne and Catherine becomes queen consort, national attention would naturally shift toward the new king and queen. Public engagements, international visits, and major ceremonial occasions would increasingly revolve around the next generation, following the same constitutional pattern seen throughout British royal history. Such a transition would not necessarily diminish Camilla's contributions, but would reflect the normal evolution of the monarchy during a change of reign. Questions have also emerged about where Camilla might spend much of her time. Although official arrangements would depend on circumstances at the time, royal commentators have frequently noted that she has long maintained a personal connection to Ray Mill House, her private residence acquired before her marriage to Charles. Whether she divides her time between private life and selected royal commitments or adopts another arrangement, any future residence would likely reflect a quieter public role than the one she holds today. Another important factor is her relationship with Prince William and Catherine. Publicly, they have continued fulfilling official duties together whenever required, presenting a united image on behalf of the crown.
This is the moment when, as it were, he takes on literally the whole weight of his office, the weight of that crown.
Beyond those appearances, however, the royal family traditionally keeps personal relationships private. As a result, many assumptions about future dynamics remain exactly that, assumptions. Some observers expect a respectful working relationship shaped by duty, while others believe constitutional responsibilities will naturally define clear boundaries. Neither view has been officially confirmed. How history ultimately remembers Camilla may depend less on titles than on the work she leaves behind. Her transformation from one of the most controversial figures connected to the monarchy into a recognized working royal has already become a remarkable chapter in modern royal history. Yet the final assessment of her legacy remains unfinished. As Charles's reported long-term planning continues attracting attention, the future awaiting Camilla stands as another reminder that every royal transition quietly reshapes both individual lives and the institution they have spent years serving. History may remember Charles's choice in ways no one expects, but the final chapter is still unfolding. Did he truly secure Camilla's legacy, or create a mystery future historians will debate? And what hidden consequences await the monarchy as William's era approaches in the shadows? Stay tuned. The Crown's future faces judgment. King Charles III's future decisions continue to capture worldwide attention, and one question remains at the center of the royal conversation. How will history judge the choices he makes regarding Queen Camilla and the monarchy itself? The answer may not come from a single announcement, a palace event, or a dramatic public moment. Instead, it may be revealed slowly through the lasting impact of the decisions made throughout his reign. Charles inherited a centuries-old institution at a time when the monarchy faced some of its greatest modern challenges. Public expectations have changed, younger generations view tradition differently, and the role of the crown continues to be questioned in an evolving society. His challenge has been finding the delicate balance between protecting the traditions that have kept the monarchy alive for generations while also adapting to the demands of a modern world. Throughout his reign, King Charles has repeatedly emphasized service, stability, and continuity as essential foundations for the survival of the crown. His approach to Queen Camilla's position within the monarchy reflects a much larger discussion about how personal relationships, public responsibility, and constitutional duties can exist together. Camilla's transformation from one of the most debated figures connected to the royal family into a recognized working member of the institution remains one of the most closely examined journeys in recent royal history. For many observers, the way Charles has handled Camilla's role may become one of the most significant aspects of his legacy. Her supporters argue that she has demonstrated commitment, resilience, and dedication through her charitable work and public engagements. They believe her steady presence beside Charles has helped strengthen the image of the monarchy during a period of uncertainty. However, critics continue to examine her past controversies and question how those moments influenced public attitudes toward the crown. These contrasting opinions reveal why Camilla's place in history remains complicated. Her legacy may ultimately depend not only on how people view her today, but also on how future generations interpret her contribution during Charles's reign. Beyond Camilla's future, many believe Charles's greatest responsibility may be preparing the monarchy for the next chapter under Prince William. The transition between generations will represent far more than a change of title. It will introduce a different leadership style, new priorities, and a new relationship between the royal family and the public. Charles's decisions could determine whether William inherits a monarchy that feels prepared for the future or one still struggling with unresolved challenges. By focusing on stability and continuity, Charles may be attempting to create a foundation that allows the next generation to guide the institution through a changing era. The future of the crown, however, will never depend on one person alone. Every monarch inherits decisions made before them and leaves behind choices that influence those who come after. Charles's approach to succession, responsibility, and modernization may eventually become some of the defining elements of his reign, even if their full importance is not immediately understood. When historians look back on this period, they may not focus only on royal ceremonies, speeches, or public appearances. Instead, they may examine whether Charles successfully protected the monarchy during a critical moment of transition. They may ask whether he strengthened the institution, secured Camilla's place within its history, and created the conditions for William's future reign. Ultimately, the debate surrounding Camilla's royal future represents a much larger story about leadership, sacrifice, and legacy. The monarchy has always survived by adapting to new realities, and every sovereign faces the difficult challenge of balancing personal decisions with national expectations. Charles's final choices may become more than simple royal decisions. They may become the defining moments that determine how one king guided an ancient institution into an uncertain future. Only time will reveal whether his choices truly strengthen the crown or expose the challenges that remain ahead. The final judgment of history may depend on what happens next. So, what do you think? Was Charles's decision the right move for Camilla's royal future, or should tradition have taken another path? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.